Support the channel by becoming a channel member or joining the Patreon through patreon.com/manlightfoot.
If seeing her work can't make you appreciate the beauty of nighttime, then nothing can.
What do you mean, see her work?
You walk away, you don't hear me say, please.
Okay, Dreamworks, one day we're just gonna have to have a big talk about your recent movies, cause what can I really say about Orion and the Dark? A movie I got to see early thanks to some screeners from Netflix. This movie started off so generic, like unbelievably generic. Like you're surprised after seeing Dreamworks lineup how generic this managed to be as their next film. And then by the end of this movie, you realize it was all calculated. You were being taken for a ride by some clever ass filmmakers, i.e. the crew, director, and Charlie Kaufman.
What?
Yeah, that Charlie Kaufman. They said, we understand you so well, we know how to make you fall in love with our movie. We know how to manipulate your emotions just right. And you know what the most absolutely frustrating thing, the single most aggravating thing is about this movie for me?
I'm waiting!
I can't go into detail about how it's able to do this without spoiling the movie. I have to be very generic about how I describe the subversions here, which is funny considering the movie pretended to be generic to get me to love it.
Strange, isn't it?
Now, I do want to preface that this movie is based on a book that I have not read, so there is a chance that the subversion is also in the book. But to be honest, this particular subversion feels like it would be more movie-based, but like I said, I can't go into detail about it. If you see this movie and you read the book, tell me what the differences are in the comments. So what's the story? Orion is a boy afraid of everything, from bullies to germs to cancer. Understandable, but strange. He has an absolute deep-seated fear of the dark, mainly because he doesn't know what could be in it and what can lurk about. So it ends up resulting in him meeting with the living concept of darkness named Dark, who's had enough with people being afraid of him, so he decides to take Orion on a night out in the world to help him conquer his fears and to show that darkness really isn't something to be afraid of. It focuses on kids' social anxieties and how they over-exaggerate their fears. It's pretty obvious just from the premise alone with the whole being afraid of everything. You kinda can easily catch on to what you're gonna get from this movie and the lesson it's gonna teach, but the great news is that it actually works entirely because of it. It does have to do with the characters, who I can thankfully go into detail about. Orion is a walking existential crisis, which is funny cause he's not even old enough to drive yet. He thinks of so many pedantic ways things can go wrong, even in scenarios that would be good for him. He even gets dark to a point of imagining getting cancer.
Kids, could you lighten up a little?
He invokes those childhood anxieties we've all had or have, where it feels like the entire weight of the world is coming down on you. At every corner something can go wrong and you have no control over it, so you can understand how he's so freaked out. It clearly works against him when it comes to making friends and just, living. He shelters himself away since it's easier to not deal with problems like he should. He's easy to sympathize with because everyone can see themselves in him. We all were that scared kid that avoided taking risks. Orion works as a strong main overall. The character of Dark is a bit like the genie with the wisecracks and everything, but makes weirder references like this one about Sundance festivals. The fuck? He's a fun-loving guy that clearly doesn't like the bad rep darkness can get. You can get his pain by the fact that he's literally the personification of darkness. Most people hate the dark because they don't know what's in it. He can't help how others will perceive him because he basically shields the unknown, and that's something that a lot of people just don't like. So it's easy to connect with him on this type of front. Him and Orion's bond are a big part of the story that makes it work. These two couldn't be more polar opposite of each other, but that's how they're able to complement one another. Orion is too sheltered and logical, and Dark is irrational and outgoing. They work past each other's flaws and build a good bond between them that you can get invested in. But Dark isn't perfect. He makes irrational decisions that piss off his friend group of nighttime entities, such as insomnia, sleep, quiet, which in hindsight is weird since the daytime can be quiet as well, strange noises, which is funny because she can have niggas looking around crazy, and sweet dreams. They're a good group of memorable weirdos that are clearly tired of Dark feeling down on himself. It gets to a boiling point for them that brings some good tension to the movie. Everyone's justified in their frustrations with Dark, but the movie showcases why they should appreciate the role they play in the natural order of things. They emphasize how the things you take for granted are sometimes the most important things. A pretty good lesson that I can see people enjoying. The animation is low-key an odd one to judge. At first it looks mad generic in the beginning, but then it becomes amazing as it goes on. I thought Dreamworks was completely losing a step when the movie started with the character designs being so fantastical for the environments. It had a bit of a straight to DVD look and vibe to it, but then we get to Dark and the other entities and the movie comes alive. There's just so much color being utilized in unique ways with this movie. The flying sequences are where the money is on screen. Now, with this looking generic at the start, I realized by the end of this movie that this was on purpose, and it had everything to do with a particular framing device for this movie. This framing device is actually vital, but I can't spoil it here. Like I said, I have to speak generically. There's even an element within the story that is so minute, but turns out so genuinely sweet, I can't even mention anything about it. It actually keeps getting crazier as the movie goes on in this area with the framing device. I was taken aback by the end of this movie, honestly. Literally, this is what my face looked like. I will say this device is unique and actually helps to subvert some tropes you'd expect from a film like this. It pushes the idea that happy endings aren't always the best ones, and the real ones, even the ones that aren't so happy, are important for kids. I will at least say it actually justifies the pseudo Deus Ex Machina they have for the climax. That's honestly the most I will be able to reveal. Yes, I know that may sound insane for a kids movie to be able to make a Deus Ex Machina to work, but just trust me when I say I was astounded, and I don't use that word lightly. Some part of the ending feels like you're watching a writer purposely write themselves into a hole in the story. Then they do everything they can to write themselves out of the hole. But then it all somehow manages to make perfect sense by the end of it all. It's the most insanely written Dreamworks movie I've ever seen. Probably even the most insanely written animated movie I've ever seen, period. For what really burns about all of this is the big important theme of the movie is in the framing device. That's right, the important theme is in this device that is so well done that I can't talk about it. So please, once this movie drops, go see it. I am so curious how everyone is going to react to this. Please leave a comment after you've seen it to let me know what you think. I am genuinely dying to know. This movie was the biggest surprise of the year for me, and it's only February. The characters are fun and likable. The animation starts a bit off-putting, but becomes great when things get going. The message of the movie will resonate with those that struggle with their anxieties. The real message will resonate even harder for everyone. It's an excellent film that subverts things in a way that I never thought possible in a film. It's something that you definitely shouldn't be afraid to brave the dark for. Now, this movie showcases rationalizing fear by showing Orion's overreactions to things, but maybe there's a way to think logically and not overreact to things. Well, thankfully this video is sponsored by Brilliant. Brilliant is this great and easy way to learn math, data science, and computer science interactively. You can choose from a whole assortment of different topics to learn from. Thousands of lessons from basics to advanced topics, and new lessons added every month. And don't worry about skill level. Take a quick quiz when you sign up and you'll be matched with content that fits your skill level and interests, whether you're a complete beginner or you're ready to write programs for a quantum computer, all at your own pace. Now, you all know me as the thinking guy, so of course I do their logic courses to help keep my analytical skills fresh. I like to think that they help keep my analytical skills sharpened. But the real good news is that Brilliant has a good deal going right now. To try everything Brilliant has to offer for free for a full 30 days, visit the link on the screen or click on the link in the description. The first 200 of you will get 20% off Brilliant's annual premium subscription. Brilliant is such a fun way to learn that you definitely don't want to miss out on this deal. And I do want to say thank you to Brilliant for sponsoring this video.
Thank you.